Hey, Gemini, Mel, intuitive coach here, excited to bring in your June 2025 monthly reading. If you're interested in a personal reading, signing up for the monthly newsletter, or entering into the free reading giveaway, you can find all of that information in the description box below the video. All right, Gemini, happy birthday to those of you sun sign gems out there. Bottom of the deck, you have the King of Pentacles. You have been working on your stability here, your safety and security. For some of you, you've been focused on your career, perhaps your finances, and maybe even your home as well. I am getting the message here, Gemini in training. Gemini in training, and they're actually showing me a baseball game where you've been in the dugout. It feels like you've been in the dugout, you've been training, you've been waiting for your time to get out there and play the game. You've been waiting for your time to kind of put yourself out there, show them what you're made of. And it feels like you've been in this training period, potentially the shadow period, that's your archetype, but I feel like you are coming out of that. This next trip around the sun, especially if you are a sun sign Gemini, it feels big. Your first card out here is the Fool. The Fool is big, right? There is a fresh journey. There is a fresh start ahead. This is a path that perhaps you've never explored before. Maybe you've never played the game with these certain people, right? You've never explored your newfound talents in this line of work here. It feels like there's a breath of fresh air coming in for you, Gemini, after consuming a lot of time, a lot of energy, and a lot of healing towards some sort of shadow period that you've gone through. You have the Four of Pentacles in reverse here, which means you're letting go of the negativity. You are facing some fears head on, and I feel like you're showing up shaking, right? You're nervous, but you're excited, but there is a new beginning because right behind this King of Pentacles, we see the Ace of Pentacles. So there's a start of a new life coming in, and I feel like you're going straight to the top. Not only are you going to hit a home run, I feel like this is going to be the biggest play of your life. It feels that significant, and right behind it, we have the Emperor. We have the Emperor. So that is huge energy here. This is about you bringing order and discipline to your life. It's not only bringing it to your life, but seeing how your consistency and your hard work is paying off here. And you're going to see it show up in the material financial world. I really love where this is going. And I just sneak peek the Queen of Pentacles here. So we have the King of Pentacles, the Queen of Pentacles. There could be a power couple that is coming together for those of you that may be single. Now, key themes for the month, you have awakening. Awakening. Okay, thank you, Spirit. I am hearing the song. Oh, I love this song. Eric Clapton, Tears in Heaven. Oh, that could be why. You have the Animal Kingdom. Gemini, have you gone through the loss of a pet? Maybe it's the loss of a loved one. Tears in Heaven could be symbolic. Perhaps June is a month where someone may have crossed over. It could be a celebration of life. It could be someone's birthday that's no longer here in the physical. It feels like there is also a happy birthday coming from someone in the spirit world for you, Gemini. And the tears in heaven, I'm getting tears could also be raindrops, and raindrops create rainbows. So there's something with the rain and something with the rainbows could be significant for those of you that miss someone in spirit. Okay, I'm going to move away from that. Thank you for for allowing that to come through here. I do feel like you have a lot of love that is backing you up at this time. Now, the awakening card here is the Phoenix rising. This is you being able to spread your beautiful wings here. Now, you've never been this butterfly, just like the Phoenix is spreading the wings here. You've been a caterpillar, right? You've been in that caterpillar phase of your life in the past where you've been playing it small. You had to go through the training, also known as that cocooning process, right? You've had to go through maybe an ego death. For some of you, this was a loss of a job, perhaps the death of a loved one, or something may have ended in your life that had stirred up a lot of transformations within you. And I see now you reclaiming your power. Beautiful. That's also that King of Pentacles and Emperor energy that was sitting at the bottom of the deck here. So you are reclaiming yourself as whole. That King and Queen of Pentacles, if it's not necessarily a power couple, it can be the divine feminine and masculine within yourself. And that's what I see you doing, is claiming yourself as whole. This is a rebirth. It's truth and spiritual enlightenment. Now that you have your wings, you're ready to put yourself out there. You have completed the training in a sense, whether this is soul training. For some of you, this could actually be education. For others of you, you've gone through a health period where you've learned a lot. You've researched, you may have learned a lot about your body, what you can eat, what you should not eat, what you should consume on an energetic, spiritual, emotional, and mental level. But I feel like you've been rebalancing your life. And through that rebalance, you are creating a new sense of stability for yourself. There's spiritual enlightenment, and I'm also getting like near-death experiences. Some of you may have gone through that near-death, or you're going through what I call a midlife awakening. And some people call it a crisis, but I feel like it's a very, very important part of our lives where we reevaluate. And I see that you've done that here with the Hermit. The Hermit in reverse next to the Seven of Cups in reverse says, okay, you've gone through this solitude period. You've spent a good number of potentially months or years in this introspective healing recovery phase. And now is the time for you to get focused. Now is the time for you to get disciplined here, because you're putting yourself out there. It's time to be seen. It's time to be valued, and it's time to feel appreciated. Now you have the animal kingdom. You may be getting a lot of messages through butterflies or through spirit animals. You may have animals yourself. Some of you could be adopting a pet as well. Now I'm also getting deer. So deer could be significant. Perhaps a doe shows up in your yard, or you just feel the gentleness or compassion of animals in the great outdoors or within your own home. Or you may even have a dream of a pet who's crossed over. You may be an animal lover. This can be about an emotional support pet, Gemini, unconditional love, and even companionship. So do pay attention to nature, the animal kingdom here, and also where there is support, because you have support coming in. That was that King of Pentacles. And I feel like the respect here is here, like people respect you, but you also have this Queen of Pentacles, and it says support right there. So not only is the respect piece coming into play, but you are supported as you create this sense of stability for yourself. And don't be surprised if new family shows up, or, new friendships, new tribe. It feels like there's a sense of togetherness. It feels like there's a sense of belonging. And we have Go Time, the action card here. This is about taking charge. And that's why the Emperor is also showing up here at the bottom of the deck, because you are preparing. You've been in that training mode, and now you are coming out of the dugout and you're next up to bat. And again, I feel like you're hitting a home run. Whether this is a new relationship, this is the relationship that's really going to, be the one that sets the tone, right? It feels like this is the one that you've been training or waiting a lifetime for. If this is a career opportunity, it feels like this is the big one. Gemini, I feel like you're moving forward. If this is health, and some of you have struggled with perhaps your equilibrium, maybe there's been dizzy spells, or you found it difficult to stay structured in a routine, to continuously eat healthy or to continuously work out. Sometimes we fall off that bandwagon, and sometimes we stay consistent for, a few weeks or even a few months. And then we tend to kind of veer off if we don't continuously make that choice day in and day out. And I feel like that's why the choice card is showing up here with the Seven of Cups, because you're choosing consistency. There's something that deep down on a spiritual level, but also physically, something feels better. Something feels better, your body is feeling better. So for example, let's say you've cut out sugars, but yet you may sometimes go on a sugar binge. I feel like you realize that leaves you feeling like you got a sugar hangover. And instead of doing that to yourself, you're finding other ways to incorporate sweetness in your life. And oftentimes when we do have those sugar cravings, it can be due to hormonal imbalances, but also it can be spiritually, we're craving more sweetness. We're craving more pleasure in our lives. So you may be connecting the dots and finding the parallels here in your life. And if something was difficult for you, I feel like you're replacing it with a healthier option. You're taking charge of your health, you're taking charge of your career, and you're taking charge of your relationship. So I do feel like there's steady progress here. Now is the time to get organized. Some of you may be getting ready to move. You could be packing. Maybe that's the training energy, right? You've been packing. You've been preparing to maybe sell a home and you've purchased a new one here. You may even be opening up your own business here or taking your business to the next level, a level that you've never explored. And I feel like it's quite exciting because again, you have the dark clouds below you. And that's that shadow period here. I mean, both of these energies, the archetype of the shadow, that's what you are coming up out of here. Bottom of the deck, we have clarity. And if you look at the Fool card, we have the sun shining up top. And actually, Spirit is saying, look at the rainbow. So it's beautiful because you're going through like a clearing process. Just like that rain that I was picking up on, there may be a detoxing. Some of you could be going on a cleanse. You may be detoxing the home even, maybe decluttering, maybe going through and cleaning out the walls. I'm getting mold. Some of you may have had mold in an area of your home. There may have been a lot of dust bunnies. There may have been some do-it-yourself projects that you've been putting off. And I feel like now is the time where you feel more vitality, you feel more productive. And I'm also getting here herbs. Some of you may be introducing herbs or supplements to your diet. And the herb that I actually was smelling was cilantro. So some of you, perhaps cilantro, maybe you're cutting it as you're listening to this, or maybe you're growing it, or maybe you're eating something with cilantro, but that's such a healing, great herb. So if that is resonating, take it as it does. Now you have the Ace of Wands showing up here, Gemini. It is in reverse, which means some of you were struggling to tap into your creativity because you didn't feel very motivated. That's what's shifting here. I feel like you've consumed yourself with maybe focusing on what wasn't working here, or not only what wasn't working, but what you needed to heal. It's like focusing on the challenge and putting yourself so intensely right in the middle of it that you couldn't really see the happiness, or you couldn't really see all of the joy or the sun around you. And it just feels like there's a burst of momentum that rises up. It feels like Kundalini energy for some of you. And this Ace of Wands is a new beginning. So this is the new beginning that is the mother of all new beginnings, right? The Fool. And you've been focusing on maybe one aspect here that wasn't working, where Spirit is saying, the training, all of it, the preparing, the challenges, the struggles, the sore muscles, the health issues, everything has its place. And again, it feels like there's a holistic vibe coming in where instead of consuming or focusing on the struggle, you are focusing here now on the overall new beginning. And you're seeing the pieces come together. And the Four of Pentacles can also be, paying off debt. It can be taking a look at that mindset. And if you were focusing on things that were causing you to not be in the highest vibration, maybe self-talk. Sometimes we tend to say, I messed that up. I'm always going to mess that up, or I'm broke, or, I'm always going to be sick. Pay attention to your self-talk. because that can consume us. And also pay attention to what you are watching, the news, what you are listening to, on the radio, the music, other people as well. Are you surrounding yourself with people who uplift you, people who inspire you, or people who bring you down, people who gossip, people who are maybe small-minded here? I feel like that's what you are letting go of. And you're saying, wait a second, I'm getting my power back here. I am rising above and I'm clearing out the clutter. The rain is coming in, detoxing my energy. Some of you are staying hydrated. You could even be spending time near, on, or in the water, potentially a cruise. Maybe you're on a pontoon. Some of you may enjoy fishing. Some of you could actually be attending or watching baseball. And remember that divine partnership that I seen earlier? For those of you that are wanting to connect to another individual, you could meet them through a sporting event or a competitive event. They may even wear a baseball cap, or they may be into sports. So we have the Hermit energy showing up. The Hermit energy is about, introspection. And when the Hermit shows up, you've done a lot of that soul searching. And I feel like you've come to this period of enlightenment in a way. This could be an aha moment with the awakening. And this is you saying, all right, I have spent enough time focusing here on this. Now I'm ready to go out there and, batter up. And I feel like you've learned a lot on this journey, but some of you, it's become lonely. And you may be making space for new connections, new community, or new love to enter your world. I also see, if you felt like you were all alone on your healing journey, there's someone here. There's a partnership, whether this is a therapist, a coach, a healer, a shaman, a psychic. This could even be a family member who has supported you in some way, or even a spouse. But it feels like you're not alone. And it feels like there's going to be proof or evidence that you are supported. I keep getting that Queen of Pentacles here, which she has the support. And she actually has the beautiful koala that she's hugging. And so someone could get one of those big bear hugs, one of those hugs where you just melt into them and you connect heart chakras, and it feels like you are safe. It feels like you're in the arms here of someone safe. So expect some sort of really amazing, incredible hug to show up for you in the month of June. Hopefully more than one. Now you have these 7 of Cups here. Some of you may have gone through a period of illusion, and maybe the illusion was because it felt like it was taking forever as you were going through that training period while you were sitting in the dugout, the shadow here. And I feel like you have some possibilities that you are now exploring, but it's getting your energy together because something felt scattered. Some of you may even have like ADHD. Some of you may have like type A personality, where I do, squirrel. So you may have many things that are going on, and it can be difficult to focus sometimes. And that's why that consistency can be difficult. But I feel like you are honing in here on a new path, a new beginning. And this is something that does excite you. It's something that's bubbling up from your soul wellspring here. And you're going to be excited with the choices that you are making here, because it feels like not only are you making these choices from maybe more mental stability, but emotionally it feels right for you as well. And that's what you're leaning into. You're leaning into the sun. Now you have the 5 of Pentacles showing up here in reverse. So not only are we letting go of that scarcity or poverty conscious mindset, maybe negative self-talk, or telling ourselves that we're going to be in the dugout forever, right? When is it going to be my time to get out there and, show them what I'm made of? When is it going to be my time to be seen, to be heard, to be valued, to be supported, to be respected? Well, the 5 of Pentacles says you've been humbled, or a situation is now humbling you. And I feel with the 5 of Pentacles, some of you are in a bit of fight or flight, maybe even hyper vigilance, possibly even adrenal shutdown. And it feels like you've been in this frozen period here of perseverance. And now you don't have to go it alone. There's a level of support here, either financial support, Gemini, emotional support. Some of you may be getting answers from a health professional, or you could be receiving some good news here that's going to level up your life in some way. And I feel like you deserve this win. You deserve to finally feel like you're moving forward after living in this Five of Pentacles where you've had either money or health issues. Some of you, you had to file for bankruptcy, or you may have lost a job, or an illness got in the way here, either your own illness or the illness of another that you've had to take care of, and you may have depleted your resources. And I feel like you're starting to come up out of that. You're starting to live and lead a happier, more abundant life. Now, when it comes to health, I feel like you are excited here to try some new options, try some alternative methods here. Some of you may have even had like a knee replacement, or you've had some surgery, or you've done some deep inner child work or shadow work, I see. And it feels like you're seeing the fruits of your labor paying off because you're responding to things differently, and you're noticing that new energies are coming in, these new energies that you've never maybe dealt with before. And even though they can be a little bit frightening, I feel like you are saying, all right, fear, get away, back up, let me step fully into my potential. So you're facing some things head on, but that's where you persevere. That's where you allow that sense of determination to move you forward here. And I do see you coming out of some health or financial challenges, because the clarity card is here at the bottom and we have bliss right behind it. So for those of you that have been wondering if you're going to get that opportunity, or if this contract is going to go through, or if you are going to meet the love of your life. I mean, the bliss card, it has the word YES right on it. So I feel like this is a big yes month for you. Now let's look at finances, wealth, career. You have the writer card. I love the writer card because I'm a writer myself, but it says words are magic. Use them to manifest more abundance. And remember what I said about words earlier. Pay attention to self-talk. Now you are the communicator, Gemini. You are all about communication, self-expression, and perhaps telling people how you feel, writing your thoughts down on paper. Some of you could be in the public eye. Perhaps you are a content creator. You may be in public speaking. You may even be writing your own book, or sharing or telling your story in some way. You could be a blogger, a content writer, a book writer, or in any other creative writing path. Your words have the power to influence, and it's time to share your gift with the world. Now, I love this because if you've been training, as that word keeps coming up, I love it. If you've been in training here, like a training camp, right? Before you are shipped off to go do something. If you've been in like a writer's camp, or if you've been training for yoga, it feels like you're ready to teach. So some of you could be moving on to the, from the student phase to the teacher phase here as well. You may be getting ready to launch something, put it out into the world as well, and not allow the world to swallow you up, because there will be some challenges, some negative reviews, or some naysayers, but don't let those small-minded energies project their own insecurities or their own ego onto you. Don't take it personally. And for those of you that struggle with that, check out the 4 agreements. One of the big agreements is never take anything personally. It's when we can roll with the punches. I know it's easier said than done. It's been a struggle myself to allow that to kind of roll off of you. But if you see everything as energy and not let it simmer, not hang on to it, because when we hang on to things, it can create dis-ease, also known as disease, right, in the body. And I feel like that's something you've been working heavily on. So if you are a writer or a journaler, write things down. Use those money magic spells even, because the word spelling spells, right? So you're casting spells through words here. You have the unlocking card. Okay, thank you. I'm getting marketing. For some of you, you could be marketing your goods, your services. You could be using, it's like how you speak, how you communicate to others is going to be significant at this time. So be mindful of the words that you put out there. Be mindful of how you communicate. Because that Emperor energy is showing up, I just want to mention that some of you may come off as strong, okay? Or you may even feel, or others may feel intimidated a bit. But I feel like you'll know by, reading the energies of others or reading the room in some way, because you're highly intuitive. And I feel like you want to be mindful of, again, the words that you are putting out there and how people are interacting with you, because there's going to be a thin line, the thin line between the veils here of spiritual awareness. And you're going to recognize, how your words come across. It feels like that's really big here. Now you have the unlocking card. What was locked can now be opened. You have opened the floodgate of abundance without limitations. Beautiful. There's been limitations in the past. There's been, I almost said back. Do some of you have back issues? Maybe your back has limited you from doing what you love. Maybe your back in some way has not felt supported, because remember that Queen of Pentacles. It feels like the body in some way, maybe your knees, perhaps your ankles, but most importantly, your back, because that is our support system. It feels like something was very painful or something didn't feel like it supported you, especially maybe the lower back region for some of you. All right. You have opened the floodgates. Some of you have dealt with some blocks, but I feel like you're moving forward through them. And then lastly, your outcome for finances and career. You have the Comfort card. Though you're not exactly rich, you will be living comfortably. Now, when you have that Ace of Pentacles, or excuse me, you do have the Ace of Pentacles, King and Queen of Pentacles, and the Emperor. I mean, that is living a comfortable life. If you've gone through that setback with the Five of Pentacles, not only are you going to kind of come back better, I feel like this comeback is better than the setback is one of my favorite sayings. And that's a perfect example here. It feels like rags to riches, or, loss to growth. If you have dealt with some fluctuations within the market, which we all have seen, I feel like you're going to grow exponentially when it comes to finances here. And you're not going to have to worry about your sense of security, because you have this support coming in. Now, some of you may have even filed for, this can be like disability, it can be Social Security. Some of you have residual income coming in. I feel like you're always going to have this money. It could even be an inheritance for some of you, or back pay, money that was owed to you. It could even be like VA money. So there's money coming in that's going to help you live more comfortably. You're entering the most comfortable period of your life. Now, this is different than staying in that comfort zone. I feel like for some of you, there's been pain, right? Pain in the body, or pain in the heart that had caused some emotional blockage or physical blockage when it comes to living your best life. And I just feel like there's support now. Now, it could be due to, like I mentioned earlier, it could be taking better care of health or getting some health answers. It could be that there's someone that is coming into your life and you're consolidating incomes, bringing them together here where you're not the sole breadwinner. There could be monies that are owed to you that are coming in. So I definitely see you shifting gears here when it comes to finances, and they're becoming more balanced. And for a lot of you, you could even be retiring or going towards a new job, building up a business. This is freedom. This is liberation. And you may even work from home or have the ability to work from anywhere in the world with that Fool card. And if you felt like your creativity was blocked, I just feel like you're coming up out of that here. Now let's look at love, partnerships, and relationships. Something may have been mirrored back to you. There's the self-reflection. There's the introspection of the Hermit. You were mirroring another energy, Or perhaps when that mirror was shattered, remember the illusions of the Seven of Cups? You may have even been in a fantasy world or living in denial about a situation, but it feels like that illusion kind of broke the mirror. And you were faced with a reflective period, a shadow period for some of you, where you had to face some of those inner wounds. Some of you, there was a loss. You may be widowed. You may have dealt with a messy divorce or a breakup, or you felt very isolated, even in a relationship. And I feel like you are coming out of that. Yeah, look at that, the cut out. Like you're cutting out the pattern. You're cutting out that feeling of low self-worth, low confidence. This is about you separating your energies from the old paradigm, the old version of who you were in that situation, and you're rising above here. That's why that Phoenix is here, because you're rising above and you're saying, wait a second, that's not who I was. I no longer have to hang on to the limitations or the conditionings of who I was in that dynamic. The me that tried to protect myself, that lived in survival mode, that lived in this perseverance. And here you are, the dragonfly. So look at all the wings or the messages around taking flight or rising above here. You have many of those signs showing up. So pay attention to the winged creatures. That could be part of the animal kingdom. This is about being lighthearted. I love the lighthearted energy. It means that if something heavy was on your heart, that's being lifted here. This is also about adapting to this newer version of yourself, this more wiser, more compassionate, and this version of you that loves and chooses you first, Gemini. And that's not selfish. Sometimes we abandon ourselves. We get lost in taking care of others' needs and we neglect our own. And I feel like there's things that you found out about yourself, maybe things that you realized you wanted to explore more, things that you were good at, and maybe parts of your wounded self that needed tending, right? It's like you had to go through this deep awakening process here in order to truly find out who you were on a deeper level. And I feel like things are coming to light here and you are healing. We're always healing. But I feel like the energy and time and the focus of maybe licking some old wounds. Sometimes we become so obsessed about our healing and recovery journey that now, instead of the head being down, focusing on maybe some traumas or some recovery, now your head is up. Now you are looking up to the sun. Now you are coming to a point in your journey where you may have some choices to make here, but I feel like the path is becoming more clear. All right, let's dive into the shadow. Let's see what the shadow is all about. I actually feel like the shadow is going to bring in some really beautiful messages here. I don't recall what all of these are. However, I do love this deck. It is the Wild Unknown. It's one of my favorites. And if you're interested in any of the decks used in the reading, you can find all of that information, Gemini, in the description box below the video. All right, this is the unspeakable, and how interesting that we touch base on that throat chakra communication for quite some time. It's the unwelcome and the denied. Although every card in the Archetype deck has a shadow potential, this card asks us to delve into the qualities of the shadow itself. We often think that the shadow can be purified, illuminated, and made right through effort and achievement. However, it is typically the case that our lofty pursuit of ascension and perfection is the very source of shadow material itself. By rejecting parts of ourselves and the world, we begin to separate from the whole. How interesting. Earlier, I mentioned that you are becoming whole. You're realizing that the shadow is a part of you. And instead of maybe running from it or escaping from it, I feel like you are returning to that sense of, completion or wholeness within oneself. Rather than getting to know the qualities and content of our shadow, we busy ourselves with avoiding its presence. This is denial. When this card appears, it is time to take inventory of those things that you've been denying. When the mind responds with no, anything but that, You are touching the shadow. Find support. There's that word again. Find support for this deep inner work and move toward the shadow with patience and compassion. And wasn't that the message in the very beginning of the reading? Like, you're in the dugout. It's dark in the dugout, right? It's smelly. We're watching the game from afar, and it may feel icky and sticky and ooey and gooey. You've been in this training period. And I feel like the shadow, there's something here about revealing unconscious aspects of the self and the world. That's the light version. When it's in the dark, it's denying unconscious aspects of the self and world. Contemplate the following scientific observation. The closer an object, a person, place, or community is to the light, the longer the shadow it casts. In the shadow of the gods are the very gods themselves. Reflect on this statement by James Hillman in A Blue Fire. What do you despise about yourself? By answering, you move toward shadow. That's deep. For those of you Gemini that want to be entered into the free monthly reading giveaway, I want you to drop that in the comment section below. If you feel vulnerable, if you feel like you're able to, then please do, because this is a safe space. And I want you to, again, answer, what do you despise about yourself? Or what is it in your life that you are saying, no, anything but that? I want you to be real. I want you to be honest, because that's something you are facing here. And I feel like the action card, right, is saying, I am putting myself out there. You know, it may feel vulnerable. It may feel scary, but this is me. This is me accepting all of me. And I feel like that is part of the awakening here. And if you want to go deeper in the shadow energy, check out Owning Your Own Shadow by R. Johnson. So patience and compassion is key. And for some of you, you may still be in this shadow period. For others of you, you are embracing it, which means kind of rising above it, coming out of this period. And maybe for some of you, you're about to enter into it. But because I see here the clarity, I feel like a lot of you are stepping out of it here. Or at least, like I said, embracing the wholeness of it all, facing it head on, even if it feels scary, because sometimes we get stuck in that dugout and we say, you know, I'm just going to watch. You know, over time, we feel like we're not going to do good. When we get out there and we go out to bat, we start to tell ourselves we're going to strike out. There's no point in even going out because I'm just going to strike out. And then we start to tell ourselves that over and over and over again. And now it's your time to go out there and bat. But because you've told yourself that over and over and over again, that confidence is so low. And do you even try, right? This is you saying, let's pump yourself up here. Let's become the hero that you are needing. This is about a beginning for you. And it starts within that mind, your belief system. You have what it takes here to not only get out there and bat, but to hit a home run. That is what I have for you, Gemini. I hope this resonates, beautiful souls. If so, please hit that thumbs up. Feel free to share, like, subscribe, and hit that bell. Thank you so very much for tuning in, and happy birthday to you.